The whole class laughed until the principal walked in. The air inside Principal Villanueva's office was tense. Jason sat slouched on the visitor's chair. Everyone knew him as the leader of the toughest group of bullies in school, and he had been called in to answer for hurting a fellow student. Next to him was his family's lawyer, Mr. Torres, composed and sharp in his suit. Across from them sat the injured student's mother and a classmate who had witnessed what happened. The witness stood up, hands clenched into fists, and pointed directly at Jason. "It was him! Jason is the one who ordered them to do it! He's the real culprit!" Jason just rolled his eyes and leaned back. Before anyone else could speak, Mr. Torres stood up and placed a thick white envelope on the table. "Ma'am, Sir Principal, let us not make this harder than it needs to be. My client's family is willing to take responsibility in the best way we can. Please accept this sum of money to cover all medical bills, school expenses, and everything else this incident has caused. Let us settle this privately and end this right now." The mother looked at the envelope, then glared at Jason, who showed no remorse at all. She shook her head and pushed it away. "No! You think money can heal the fear my son feels? He can't even sleep well at night. I don't want your money. I want him to answer for what he did." Mr. Torres did not argue. He picked up the envelope, pulled out a second one twice as thick, and laid both down side by side. "Very well. We will double the amount. This is more than enough to cover everything and more. No more hearings, no more trouble, just a full and final settlement." The mother stared at the envelopes for a long time. She thought of the unpaid hospital bills, the medicines she could barely afford, and the extra shifts she had to take at work. Slowly, with tears in her eyes, she nodded and pulled the envelopes toward her. "Fine, I accept." Once the papers were signed and everyone was leaving the office, Jason suddenly burst out laughing, loud, arrogant, and without a shred of shame. He turned to his lawyer and clapped him on the back hard. "You really are the greatest lawyer ever! They gave in so fast! You handled it perfectly!" Mr. Torres just gave a faint smile. And true enough, only 2 days later, Jason and his group were seen again, shoving and taunting another student near the school gate. The bullying never stopped. After Jason's case was settled, things only got worse. Their targets doubled overnight, and now they hunted down and targeted also those students who had stood up and testified against them. Every single school day, Jason and his friends waited for them outside the gate, lingering by the fence, blocking their path the moment classes ended, just to bully them before they could go home. "Hey, look! It's the snitches!" Jason would yell, kicking a stone right at their feet. "You thought pointing fingers would change anything? Now you get to pay for every word you said." His group would shove them against the wall, rip pages out of their notebooks, snatch their caps, and laugh as they scrambled to pick up their scattered things. No bystander dared interfere. Everyone had seen what happened to those who spoke up. Bruised, terrified, and with no other place to turn, the students once again knocked on the principal's door and stepped inside his office. "Sir, please, do something," said Lido, the witness who had first named Jason. "They're waiting for us every day. We can't even walk home without getting hurt." Dominic nodded beside him, his voice cracking. "We told the truth. Why are we the only ones who suffer?" Principal Villanueva sighed, flipping through papers without looking at them. "If you cannot endure being bullied here," he said coldly, "you are free to leave this school and transfer to another. No one is stopping you." The students stared at him in silence, their last flicker of hope dying right there in the room. Days later, the news spread fast. Many students dropped out of that school, and most of them were exactly those who had been bullied by Jason and his gang. They could no longer bear the pain, the fear, and the heavy feeling that no one would ever protect them. Classrooms grew quieter, hallways emptier, and Jason's group walked through the grounds more confident than ever, knowing nothing would ever stop them. Word spread fast across Iloilo. The school's name was everywhere in the news, but not for awards, not for good performance. It was famous only for the terrifying bullying problem that had pushed so many students away. The parents of the students who had dropped out came forward one by one for interviews. My son loved this school until he got beaten and threatened every single day, one mother said through tears on television. We went to the principal, we begged for help, and all he told us was to leave if we can't take it. That is not leadership. That is abandoning the victims, another father added. They don't care about our children here. They only care about keeping things quiet, no matter who gets hurt. But Jason's father and the families of his group had money, influence, and powerful connections. Within days, the reports stopped. News segments were canceled, online posts were taken down, and no one spoke of the case anymore. One reporter was heard saying quietly, "We were told to drop it. All the outlets were paid off, every single one." The big, loud scandal faded into thin air like it never happened at all. And slowly, people outside began to forget. They took it for granted, acting as if nothing wrong had ever really occurred. But those who were watching closely were stunned. How can an issue this serious just vanish overnight? One official asked. It was controlled, silenced with money, right before everyone's eyes. At the police headquarters, Chief Inspector Reyes stood before his officers, his voice firm. This did not happen by accident. This was covered up on purpose, he said. We will not let this rest. I am forming a special investigation team assigned only to this school. You will go inside, talk to everyone, dig up every single detail. We will find out the real truth hidden behind these walls and who is truly responsible for all of this suffering. Meanwhile, Jason and his friends grew more powerful and influential by the day within the school grounds. Their names carried weight. No one dared to lay a hand on them, and no one dared file a single complaint against them ever again. The rest of the students had learned to keep their heads down, their mouths shut, and their eyes turned away, acting blind to every cruel thing happening right before them. One morning, the classroom door creaked open. A boy stepped in, shoulders hunched, his footsteps soft and hesitant, quiet as a shadow as he walked inside. Class, we have a new student joining us today, the teacher said, his voice flat and lifeless. He did not even look up fully from his lesson plan. Go ahead and introduce yourself. The boy stood by the podium, eyes fixed on the scuffed floor. Good morning. My name is Dennis. I just transferred here. I hope we can all get along. Not a single voice greeted him. Some students glanced briefly, then immediately stared back at their own desks, afraid to even show a flicker of kindness. The teacher said nothing more, just waved a hand vaguely toward an empty seat at the back. He did not dare speak too much or show too much concern, terrified that any extra attention would bring trouble down on him too. Dennis walked slowly to his designated chair, set down his worn backpack, and sat straight, hands folded neatly on top of his desk. Before he could even take a breath, a sharp, mocking laugh cut through the silence. Oi! Look at this scared little puppy! Jason called out from his seat near the front, spinning his pen between his fingers and grinning wickedly. Can't even lift his face? Did your mom tell you to be quiet so you don't get hurt? His friends snickered loudly around him. Jason leaned back further, raising his voice so the whole room could hear. Hey, newbie! I'm talking to you! Are you deaf or just stupid? You think you can just walk in here and act like nobody? Let me tell you something. This place belongs to us. You better learn how to bow down properly before I make you. Dennis did not answer. He did not look up. He only gripped the hem of his uniform shirt a little tighter, kept his head bowed low, and sat perfectly still, saying not a single word in return. Jason's face twisted with sharp anger. He was used to everyone shaking, stuttering, or scrambling to please him. But Dennis just stayed still, head bowed, but not trembling, not begging, not even flinching. The lack of fear made Jason burn more than any answer would have. Hey, are you deaf or just stupid? Jason snarled, crumpling a sheet of paper and hurling it hard at Dennis' shoulder. It bounced off, but Dennis didn't move. You think you're tough just sitting there quiet? All through the rest of the class, Jason and his friends kept at it, crumpling pages, wads of paper, even candy wrappers, throwing them one after another straight at Dennis, Look at him, doesn't even blink. One boy cackled quietly. Maybe he's too scared to move, another jeered. Jason slammed his fist lightly on his desk. He's not scared, he's mocking us. Just wait till we get out of here. The second the bell rang, Dennis stood and gathered his things. Before he could reach the door, Jason and his crew blocked his way, grinning darkly. Not so fast, new kid, Jason said. As Dennis tried to step around them, Jason signaled his friend, who stuck out a leg, while Jason himself gave Dennis' feet a hard, sharp kick. Dennis stumbled and fell flat on the floor, his books and notebooks scattering across the hallway tiles. The whole group burst out laughing, loud and cruel. Wow, couldn't even stay on your feet. Clumsy little nobody, aren't you? Just like I thought, weak as a kitten. Jason stepped closer, nudging Dennis' arm with the toe of his shoe. Listen up, you quiet little trash, he snapped, leaning down so only Dennis could hear the cold bite in his voice. Around here, you show us respect. You greet us, you bow your head, you do exactly what we say. If you ever act like you're above us again, next time you'll be picking your teeth up off the floor. Do you understand me? That night, Dennis stepped into a dim, quiet room. Captain Santiago sat there waiting for him, pen in hand and notebook open on the table. How was your first day inside? Captain Santiago asked in a low, serious tone. Tell me everything, no details left out. Dennis recounted every single thing he had gone through. How the whole class stayed silent, how the teacher dared not intervene, how Jason mocked him, how they threw crumpled paper at him nonstop, tripped him at the door, laughed at him falling, and threatened him to bow down to them. Captain Santiago listened closely, his expression growing heavier with every word. The moment Dennis finished, he nodded slowly. He already understood what kind of problem they were facing. I see now. This runs far deeper than just bullies, he said firmly. Find out more, Dennis. Find out exactly who is backing this Jason, who is shielding him from facing any consequence. Once we have that name and proof, we will move forward with our full plan. The next morning, Dennis went back to school and acted as normally as he could. He kept his head low, spoke little, and never fought back, even when Jason and his friends pushed him harder, blocked his way, and said even crueler things to him. When he could no longer bear it, he went straight to the principal's office. Sir, please, you have to do something. They hurt me. They threaten everyone, and no one dares speak up. This cannot go on like this. The principal didn't even lift his eyes from his desk. If you are not happy in this school, if you cannot endure how things are done here, you are free to drop out and transfer somewhere else. No one is stopping you. Dennis's temper flared at that cold reply. He turned around and went straight to the police station to file a formal complaint. But the officer assigned to his case only flipped through his papers lazily, then pushed the form aside. We have more important cases to attend to right now. Just go home, avoid them, and don't cause trouble. Burning with anger, but still holding on to his mission, Dennis returned to the principal's office the very next day. He slammed his hand lightly on the desk, voice sharp and firm. I am warning you. If you still refuse to take action against them, I will report this straight to the highest school authorities, and I will expose everything that is happening here. The principal finally looked up at him, his face twisted with fear and helplessness, and shouted back, Do you have any idea who owns this school? The owner is Jason's own father. Do you really think I want all this to happen? Do you think I have any say in this? Dennis stood still for a beat as the words sank in, then slowly, thoughtfully scratched the side of his head. All the pieces that never fit before suddenly fell perfectly into place. No wonder nothing ever changed, he realized. Jason's father owns this whole school, and he's also running for senator. Everyone looks up to him. Everyone says he's a good man, but nobody knows the ugly truth hiding behind his name. That same night, he went straight to report everything to Captain Santiago. Sir, I found out who's really pulling all the strings, Dennis said firmly. Jason's father is the owner of this school. He's also the senatorial candidate everyone across the country knows and praises right now. Captain Santiago leaned forward, his expression turning sharp. Go on. Everyone thinks he's a respectable leader, Dennis added. But they have no idea this is what he's really like, using his power and money to cover up his son's crimes and letting everyone in the school live in fear. Captain Santiago gripped the edge of his desk, his knuckles turning white as anger rose in him. All those dismissed cases, all that silence from the media, the police turning their backs, it was all him from the very start, he said, his voice low and tight with rage. He hid his true self so well behind his fame and reputation, and he thought he could get away with anything. It was just another ordinary day at school, yet the whole room fell dead silent the moment Jason and his friends sauntered through the doorway. Everyone kept their heads bowed, eyes fixed on their desks, too afraid to even breathe too loud. As Jason passed by Dennis's seat, he suddenly swung his leg hard and kicked the side of the desk. Dennis lost his balance, tumbled off his chair, and hit the floor with a dull thud, his notebooks and pens spilling everywhere. Oops, watch where you're sitting, newbie, Jason jeered, snickering while his gang roared with laughter. The shouting and mocking only cut off abruptly when their teacher stepped inside. He rapped his stick lightly on the podium, and the whole room went still at once. Class, listen up, the teacher said quietly. This will be my last time handling this section. I will be replaced by your new teacher starting today. You may come in, sir. Dennis lifted his head to look, and his eyes went wide with shock. Standing at the door was none other than Captain Santiago, dressed neatly in a plain polo shirt and slacks, looking every bit like a regular teacher. Mr. Santiago, this class is all yours now. Good luck to you, the old teacher said, then nodded and walked out of the room. Captain Santiago stepped forward to the podium, his gaze calm but sharp as he looked over everyone. Good morning, everyone. I am Mr. Santiago, and I will be your advisor and subject teacher from now on. Not a single voice answered him. No one dared to look up. No one dared to greet. They were all too used to staying silent to stay safe. Captain Santiago walked slowly down the rows until he stopped right in front of Jason's group, who were still slouched in their seats, grinning insolently. Sit up straight. Put your things away. We will start our lesson now. Jason rolled his eyes and leaned back even further. Who do you think you are? You think you can just walk in here and order us around? One of his friends spat out. Better save your breath, teacher, Jason added with a sneer, refusing to move an inch. Nobody tells us what to do here. I will not say this twice, Captain Santiago said firmly, his voice steady and unyielding. Sit properly and obey. Jason's face twisted with anger. You've got some nerve, he yelled, lunging forward with his fist raised straight at Captain Santiago. His friends jumped up right behind him, ready to pile on. But not a single one of them managed to land even a single blow. With quick, precise moves, Captain Santiago caught Jason's wrist, twisted it just enough to stop him cold, and swept his leg to bring him down gently but firmly. As the others charged, he stepped aside, blocked their strikes with ease, and subdued every last one of them in seconds, all on his own, without breaking a sweat. Jason and his friends limped out of the classroom that day, covered in bruises, sore and humiliated. For the first time, no one stepped in to cover for them, and no one was afraid to stand against them. When word reached Jason's father, the wealthy senatorial candidate and owner of the school, he burned with rage. He immediately called for an emergency meeting with school officials, his lawyers, and even high-ranking police allies. How dare this man raise a hand to my son? He shouted, slamming his fist on his desk. Arrest Captain Santiago at once. Charge him with assault and abuse of authority. I will make sure he spends the rest of his life paying for this. But before anyone could obey his order, the doors swung open. Captain Santiago walked in, followed by officers carrying piles of documents, signed statements, and digital evidence. We are not here to punish Captain Santiago, one officer announced loudly. We are here to place you under arrest. The whole room fell silent. All your crimes have been uncovered, Captain Santiago said firmly. "We have proof that you are not only protecting your son's cruelty, you are the mastermind behind all the illegal activities, threats, and violence that have terrorized this downtown area for years. Every bribe, every silenced complaint, every cover-up traces straight back to you." The evidence was undeniable. By the end of that very hour, the truth was broadcast everywhere. His political career ended instantly. The reputation he had built with lies and money crumbled to dust. He lost his school, his businesses, his wealth, and every bit of the power he once held. When the news spread, people all over the city felt a weight lift off their shoulders. They smiled, knowing they could finally walk the streets and send their children to school without fear. Jason never returned to the campus. Without his father's influence, he had no power left to wield over anyone. Moral lesson: true power never comes from money, fame, or using others' fear to rule. No matter how well you hide your wrongs, or how many people you pay to keep silent, the truth will always come to light. Those who use their position to harm others will lose everything in the end, while courage and justice will always rise above cruelty. Did you love today's story? Then don't forget to smash that like button, share this video with all your friends and family, and most of all, subscribe to my channel and hit that notification bell so you never miss an update. I'll be back with more awesome stories tomorrow. Can't wait to see you then.